Thank you. We want to welcome everyone to our City Council meeting for Centerville City Council being held here on May 19th. We thank the staff that is here. We thank that the people that are joining in person, that people that are joining online, and to see what members we have from council. We'll do a roll call starting here on my far left.
Beacom present.
Bangeter present.
Heyman present.
Plummer present.
Thank you, council members. 4 of the 5 are present. Let that be noted. So we can go ahead and we have a quorum to be able to vote tonight. So we will go with the legislative prayer thought from Councilman Rick Bangeter.
Yes, Council. I've asked this evening a good friend and a revered gentleman in our community, Kevin Yamas, is here. Pastor Kevin Yamas, excuse me. He's on one of our committees too, Mayor. He serves with the CCC committee and part of emergency preparedness and operations
Wonderful.
in the city, and has been very contributory with those that he's aware of in the city and helpful with that program. He's also a pastor with the Simply Jesus Bridge community group down here west of the freeway in the business park area, and he's gracious enough to say an opening prayer for us tonight, and then I'll give a quick little thought.
Thank you, Councilmember Bangeter. If you wouldn't mind joining me in prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we are grateful for all that you do in our lives and in the city. We thank you, Lord, for your provision and for your protection. We thank you, God, that you allow us to live in peace here in Centerville. We're grateful for the community that we get to be a part of. Lord, we do pray that you would give wisdom to each of the city leaders as they make decisions on behalf of our community. Pray, Lord, that you are glorified through the actions of our community, including our government officials. Lord, we do need some rain. We would greatly appreciate if you could give us a little bit of moisture. And Lord, we just pray that you would help us to represent you. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Members, I'm going to stand. My father was a World War II vet. He was a navigator in a B-17 bomber and miraculously survived World War II, wherein over 50% of the B-17 crews did not survive that war. And my father was a great patriot, and he taught us kids to be patriotic. And this is our 250th year that we're celebrating our country and the freedoms we have, and particularly the flag of the United States of America. I just have a little poem that I'd like to share tonight. This is named Old Glory, and I don't know the author. I do know that Johnny Cash, country singer in my decade, used this and referred to it as the poem, The Ragged Old Flag. I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Well, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole has leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat," and I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" he said. I said, "I think it is." He said, "I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of the ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across to Delaware, and it got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it while writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' And it got a bad rap in New Orleans with Packingham and Jackson tugging at its seams, and it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flinders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low by the time it was through. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving her here at home. In her good land here, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. So she's getting threadbare and wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in because she's been through the fire before. I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground. We fold her upright. On second thought, I'd like to brag because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag. I think the mayor will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Councilmember. If you'd rise and repeat the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pastor Yamas, thanks for your prayer. All right. And thank you for the thought, Councilman Binger. All right, let's go to our open session. This is a chance where anybody who's present has an opportunity to come up and speak what they may be thinking about. So it's on their mind, good or bad. We ask you to try and keep your comments to 2 to 3 minutes. And realizing that if it's not an agenda item, that we can't go in a lot of discussion on it because we have that responsibility to the public by law to put it on the agenda. But if it's something that's we see as really relevant, we will have either staff get back or we'll put it on an agenda at another time. With that said, there are some public hearing matters tonight, 2 of them. Video inspection required for public and private stormwater and subsurface water drainage facilities is 1 public hearing, and a fee schedule amendment is another public hearing. So if you're going to discuss, if you want to weigh in on those, you'll have an opportunity to go have even more time than 2 or 3 minutes on those. But outside of those, anything's free game. We just ask that you identify yourself and where you're from if you're so inclined to comment. So that is now open. Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Sherry Lindstrom from 224 West, 400 South in Centerville. Been a long time since I've come here to say anything.
Good to see you, Sherry.
Thank you. I'm going to obviously open with a round of gratitude for the number of hours that you sit here and the amount of work. It's not supposed to happen. I want you to know I appreciate it. I know that how many things you have to review and all the work you have to do. And I do believe that Centerville is a wonderful place to live. And I appreciate the time away from your families. I appreciate the dedication that you take to come here as often as you do. The work sessions, everything that I know you do. So I'm here this evening to try to briefly bring up the topic of 400 South becoming commuter road and the way that the creek is being culverted. I would imagine that that has been a long discussion with the county, and there's been a lot of planning going into that. I believe that the county wants to prevent having ongoing costs associated with dredging the creek. I'm sure that some of you have heard that we were quite surprised to see in the newsletter a little blurb about how that was going to be happening this summer. And so I might be here late in the hour, but I do want to ask a few questions. I'd really like to know why some of the, well, all of the residents along Porter Lane didn't get a letter notifying us that this work was going to be done. I believe as, 30-year residents, that certainly would have been appropriate, and maybe maybe I just wasn't paying attention and missed it. But it's perfectly appropriate, I think, to have some of the local residents be able to come and speak about what was going to be happening on that road. We do have strong feelings that the potential widening of that road could damage our property values. And it's a unique corner of Centerville. Centerville is a lot of different things with the way our zoning is on top of each other. But that specific district, the Porter Walton area, was one of the main reasons that commercialism came here to Centerville and started this community. Our house was built in the late 1880s, and so it's been there for a long, long time. I'd like to know which studies show that that road needs to be a commuter road when we already have Pages Lane and Parish. Where's the infill going to be coming into the city that will warrant that level of traffic is going to have to be handled both on Pages Lane and on Porter Lane? We have, for a long time, looked at the possibility of expanding the historic district into the Porter Walton area, and I believe that if the Historic Sites Committee has weighed in on this decision, that maybe they'd be able to add to some of that comment. The other committee, and I don't know how active the committees are now, I don't know if the Trails and Parks Committee has looked at maybe making that area, instead of widening the road, having it be multimodal and having it be a bike lane and a bike path and part of the trail segment that we tried to build in that section of Centerville, just because we need to have park space and it needs to be appropriate for the population level and the amount of open space that we have. So I'll leave it at that and hope that that's short enough. Maybe a letter or an email, or let us know how we can, if at all appropriate, weigh in and get some of the basic information about the studies and the research and the information that shows why it needs to be widened to that degree. And I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure. We will get some to you. Is there anything that we brought up in past councils that we could fill Sherry in on that, or do we just want to get back to her with some more details?
We can do two things, Mayor. I mean, you as council members necessarily can't go into detail, but as staff, we can offer some information. We can't necessarily go into a debate or a deliberation. So Mike can either come up and just talk briefly about it, or Mike can hook up with her later and exchange contact information, which I think is maybe more appropriate. So, yeah. So if you'll meet with Mike, Mike will inform you.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure that other residents on the street want information as well.
All right. It sounds like he's going to try and grab you whenever you go out tonight. So great. Others for the open session? Come on up. Just introduce yourself, where you're from.
My name's Lon Hazard, and I live on 288 West Porter Lane in Centerville. And I wanted to talk about the same issue that Sherry talked about. So, as she said, it was a big surprise for all of us, but when we looked in the general plan, we just got really concerned. Me, or the other neighbors, concerned not just as a not in my backyard issue, but as an issue for the character of Centerville, for the adjacent neighborhood as well. We see it causing a problem for them. Specifically, we're concerned that in the general plan, it talks about how a signal is planned to be installed at the intersection both at 400 West and at Main Street. It's not warranted now, but it says that's the plan. And our concern is that if a light or a roundabout or something is placed on Main Street, then we risk turning Porter into more than just a major collector, as it's called in the general plan, but into a main arterial, because it funnels all that traffic from above on 400 South. So, yeah, we're concerned about the, not in my backyard issues, like, noise, safety, quality of life, property value decline. But there's a lot of other non-backyard issues as well. And One of the more important ones is that, I don't know if you know the street, but at the bottom of Porter, where it runs into 400 West, just south of that, there's a street called Williams Street. It's just 150 feet away. If we were ever to have a signal at Porter Lane, you get 5 or so cars there, those people are stuck in their neighborhood. It's tough to get out, it's dangerous to get in, it could be a serious issue. Could be a real mess. And another concern, I think, for the town is just that if we put signals there or stop signs or whatever, it affects our traffic flow, north-south. And if we do increase traffic on Porter Lane, a lot of that would be exiting out on 400 West, which burdens the left-hand turn on Parish Lane by the bank, which is, if you've taken that turn, you already know it's pretty overburdened already. It's blocking commercial traffic already. So there's several other future concerns. I don't want to take a lot of time at it. Our concern, though, is that now is the time to just take care, look to the future, make sure we keep the character of Centerville as it is, as we love, and recognize that once you build it, it's very difficult to undo it. And that if we do build the capacity on this road, build signals, then people will come. You're opportunistic. You see a shortcut, you're going to take it. So I've drafted a document with pictures and arrows that I'd like to council. It's being reviewed by some of the residents, and getting the word out. And what I'd like to do is see if I can distribute that to you, get this topic on the agenda in the future whenever that makes sense, let the neighbors know when it's going to happen so they can be here. And we want to keep the town. We love the town. We want to keep it, you know, a comfortable place to live, traffic flowing right. So that's what I got.
Thanks, Lon. You're welcome to distribute it. I don't know how many copies you have. Make sure you
I
do.
don't have it with me right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how, I'm really a novice at this. I have no idea how this works.
Okay.
I can distribute it electronically. I can bring it in. I don't know if it goes into packets, if it's on the
If you
agenda
want
or
each
something.
council member to get it, then our email addresses are on the city website.
Okay,
You can send it to them that way.
okay,
You're also, and to get it to staff, you can drop one off, or you can send it to our city recorder or our city manager as well, too.
okay.
On our website, they've just put a new button in where you can send something to all the councils or individual. It's really easy. Just if you go to that one button, you can send it to everybody.
Okay,
We'd like to thank our staff for that new button. I pushed for it a long time.
good.
That just today we found out about that, so Councilwoman Meekum was excited to tell you about it, you know. And we see Bryce back there beaming that she actually read her email, or read her text. So, thank you.
Thanks for your time and attention.
Thanks, Lon.
Thank you. More in the open session. Okay, if not, we'll move on. Are we okay moving the fireworks up? I don't know if it's going to, if our public hearings will take a while or not, but I'd like to get Chief home, unless he was planning on staying for our council meeting anyway. So let's move to the fireworks restriction areas annual updates. And Chief Larson, you want to come up? This is something that every year that we have to adopt a fireworks restriction area and zone. And I talked with Lisa on this. She's our staff representative, but she was okay with me just turning it over to Chief Larson. He's a humble man. I would let you know that as of yesterday, the fire board approved him to be, took off the interim tag, and he is now our permanent fire chief as of yesterday. So
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and look forward to working with you more in the future. First and foremost, I'll just start by saying we have looked at all of the urban interface concerns that we have in all of South Davis County with the communities that we serve in the interface. We are being told by our subject matter experts and our partners at both the state and the federal resources that, as you guys can imagine and are probably already well aware of, that the season is predicted to be unprecedented. So with that being said, we have reviewed the map. I've spent significant amount of time with our fire marshal, looking at our interface, looking at the firework maps, and I have met with one of the additional cities about their map, and we have elected to recommend to maintain the same mapping that we have used historical for Centerville City. We believe that the boundaries make sense. We believe that they're easily identifiable, and that the citizens are familiar with them at this point. That's our recommendation to you as the council, and I'm happy to answer any questions at that point.
You'll see in your informational letter that Chief Larson also sent to our city manager as well too, on that recommendation. Chief's aware that a couple of weeks ago we had a concerned citizen come in and talk to us. I talked to him about it. I think our city attorney as well too, but I don't know that we've heard any other inputs from anyone else. But are y'all familiar with the area? I mean, do you need any more explanation on that?
Do we have the map? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in our municipal code.
If we could find that,
Yeah,
we
it's
can pop
in,
it up there, that might be helpful.
Centerville Municipal Code 7.07.162.
And I can review. Do you want to wait until you? I'm sorry. I thought you guys had the map. I would have. I have one copy of it here that I'm happy to distribute or to talk about, and it discusses the boundaries in the letter that I had submitted with that. But I'm happy to go over them in as much depth as you would like.
Let's see if, here it is. Let's see if she can find it,
162.
pull it up, the map here. Is that what we're looking for, Chief?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct, Mayor.
Looks like she's gonna make it larger.
Let's just try to download this, sorry. As good as I can do.
So the hashed area represents restricted, oh yes, that's the restricted.
That's correct. So if we start.
Does anybody need a pointer on it, or can you read it okay? Okay.
So if we start on the southern point of Centerville Bountiful boundaries, and Pages Lane, we start at 700 East, and then we just head straight north, just like it's documented in the letter, to 100 South. We jog down to 600 East, and then as we move further north up to Fairview, we cut back down onto 400 East and essentially follow that all the way over to 1400 North or Peachtree Drive. That's when it curves back down to the west and hits Main Street, and then goes over to 1825 North, up to 150 East, and then across. That's where it gets a little bit tricky as we get over into Rock Manor Drive, and then as we cut over to Chapel Ridge Circle, and then that's the end of the boundary over there. So it's the same map at which we have had for, and I'm not sure if it's been 5 years, Brent, I'm sorry, I can't speak to exactly, or 6 years? 2020, okay. So, from our viewpoint, from our incidents that we have had up here have been minor, relatively minor, and we truly believe that the citizens respect the map, and from our viewpoint, from the fire department stance, and that they are aware of the boundaries. I'm happy to have any questions if there is any from council.
Is that line from 700 East, does that continue on through into Bountiful on that line?
No, and that's one thing, council member, that Bountiful's is at 400 East. And so there was a question that was brought to me in Bountiful's council about that area. And I didn't feel at liberty, I didn't feel like it was appropriate to speak on Centerville, what you as a council would do, because I hadn't spoke with you. Theirs is at 400 East, but they have a robust plan for signage in that couple of block area from, well, it'd be 3 blocks essentially, from 400 East to 700 East. And our view, what we have seen and what we have observed are the citizens, they understand the difference in the two cities and what that line is, and that they follow the guidance on it.
So it goes down
It's a
pages to then to.
Theirs is, yep, theirs is 400, at 400 East, yep, correct. They follow that essentially all the way south.
Okay.
And they, just for reference, they are staying with the same map that they have had as well. So they didn't make any changes.
So you're going to hear from residents, if you haven't already, about banning fireworks completely. And we know we can't do that by state law. We have to provide an area where they shoot off fireworks. So this is the map that we've come up with. I find it interesting, knock on wood again, that we don't have a fireworks residence in areas where they're legal, but a lot of times it's in those illegal areas where people shot up. And of course, there's illegal fireworks too, and people shouldn't be doing those as well too. But so, does this? Do we need to adopt this? We don't, Lisa, with any sort of vote.
A few years ago, the city went ahead and put this in our municipal code, so we have permanently adopted this area as our prohibited fireworks area. What we need to do and why we come to the council every year is that we have to make a finding of this historical hazardous environmental conditions. And we only have to do that 2 out of the past 5 years. But we just do it annually, so we don't miss one of those 2 years. So we just come every year, we reconfirm that, that these are the boundaries, and you can certainly look at it, and as I was discussing with Chief Larson, if there are hazardous conditions and we need to impose some sort of emergency measure, but I think for now, our recommendation is to stick with the map that we have. So we're just trying to make a record of those findings with the fire chief's letter that yes, we're still in hazardous environmental conditions, and that supports this map in prohibiting fireworks in our prohibited map area.
Yes.
Mayor, may I just ask the chief, we had the fire on the foothill here 2 years ago, I think it was, just above Parish Lane and over. It looks, the map's gone now, but it looks like there's a pinch point there just south of Parish Lane where we're closer to that foothill hillside with the wild grasses. I just wondered, would it make some sense to be a little safer and include the line of restricted area, just use 400 East and put the cemetery and some of those properties in it? I don't know, Chief, how far a fireworks can travel, an air fireworks, into the foothills there, but it seems like we're tight right there when you compare all the rest of the geography, and it seems like it'd be really easy to let citizens know, hey, no fireworks east of 400 East. Your thoughts on that particular area?
So to address the one question of how far an aerial can travel, there is such a level of subjectivity to that question just because of the wind and the condition and is what is happening with it. Obviously from our viewpoint, we always approach a situation as safe as you can, right? We look at a risk analysis and we want to be as safe as you can. But from our viewpoint, this map has worked, but with that being said, I came in here with our recommendation of maintaining the mapping, and then that's up to you guys as a council if you would like to change that area. For us, this map seems to have worked, and like I was saying, I believe the biggest piece to that is the citizens in this area know the boundaries to that. I think in moving forward, if we wanted to look, as a council, if you guys wanted to consider moving that boundary or moving the mapping, I'd be more than welcome to entertain that conversation. I just don't know if in this, and I'm open for discussion, I just don't know in this, the amount of time that we have for this of adjusting the map and then alerting all the citizens to, to basically moving that to the west, I don't know how that would be, I don't know how it would be received, or I don't know how we could make it work. I'm open to discussions by any means. I'm not saying I'm not against it or opposed to it. I just, to me, it seems like this map has worked well for us.
Go ahead.
I will just say, being in the area that was evacuated,
Yes.
and the neighbors that I'm very familiar with, their concern of the safety and the wildfire danger we have there, I believe those people, I believe I'd be appropriately representing them to say, moving that boundary a little farther west would be preferable to a good percentage of the citizens in that area who were affected last time.
So I'm going to call two chiefs up. We have Chief Larson and Chief Axon, because Chief Larson brings the fire marshal, consulting with fire marshal, but Chief Larson doesn't go around and patrol. You get to do that, right? So I'm guessing that's why you're up here for some input, or
Yes.
maybe it's something
Yeah,
else.
so this is a map we've operated on for many years now. And I like the map because I think it strikes a good balance between safety but still providing area to light fireworks. I'm not a fan of arbitrary maps that are, cover areas that don't need to be covered. There's probably not a need to have a firework restricted area half mile away from the wildland interface. And so I think our map has a good balance of kind of following along and allowing as many residents in the city the opportunity to use fireworks safely. I'm not aware of any fires caused by fireworks lit off in allowed areas, right? I'm not aware of any that's gone up and then gone over onto the mountainside.
Traveling that far.
And so all the fires I'm aware of, the big ones up on the mountainside, around the 4th of July are firework related. They're juveniles, they're younger, they're in areas they shouldn't be lighting off fireworks. A lot of times, like standing in brush when they're lighting them off, right? So we really don't see a lot of fires caused by regular families lighting them off in allowed areas. So that's, and I found that we get better compliance because of our continuity of this map, right? Every year we go out and we place signage along the road exactly where that line is. So as you drive up a road, you hit the line, you see a sign saying where that line is. Because some of the lines intersect, go behind houses, that not all of them follow exact streets. So I think we've done everything we can to alert the residents of where exactly the line is. And I think if we start moving the line now, and there's not a clear need for it, a perceived need for it as far as a distance from the mountainside, then I think we could receive more resistance and maybe some people not following the law if they don't believe there's a good reason behind it.
And between the two of you, is it 3 days before and 3 days after the 4th, the 24th, and New Year's?
Yeah, New Year's is just, New Year's, and I apologize, New Year's is the 31st and the 1st, I believe.
Okay, so that's the only time they can be shooting of anyway, so we get our signs out, what, a couple, 3 weeks before the 4th of July or something, and probably leave them through the end of July, but.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
through the 24th, right? So.
Okay. Thanks, Chief Axon. Others, anything else for Chief Larson, while you got him? He loves us so much that we're one of his first duties as a full-time fire chief.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So, if not, then thanks, Chief. We look forward to working with you, and thanks for coming over today.
Agreed. I'd just like to say thank you, Chief, and congratulations. And I live in the area that you were mentioning is kind of that quasi area where that we could consider moving it from 700 East to 400 East. And from our experience with the families that are in that neighborhood, it's been a very safe and controlled firework experience there. and have not seen any problems arise, knock on wood, up to this point. So I appreciate the chief giving us the map and proposing it as it has been, and I would support that. Thank you.
Thanks. Have we reached out to you about the times that we're doing our city fireworks show?
Yes,
Or you need
in
us to get
fact,
with you
yes,
on that?
I spoke with the chief and then with also his staff. And, I'm in the beginning phases. We have the mobile command reserved for that day, and then we're in the beginning phases of assigning staff for that unified command structure for those. So we have all of the events scheduled, and we're ready for the activities.
I just know you have to cover, how many of our cities set them off, 3, or do all 5 of us do it?
So we have events, we have 2 big events on the night of the 3rd, and then you guys are the 4th, and then parades on the 4th as well. And then we move into the latter part of July for the Handcart Day celebration in Bountiful. Yeah, but we'll make accommodations for the mobile command vehicle and all of our staff to go from North Salt Lake's festivities and West Bountiful festivities on the 3rd down to be ready for the festivities on the 4th. And I've spoke with, I'm sorry I don't have her name for sure, but for the big flag to be on the stage, and all of those arrangements have been made, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for having me, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Chief. All right, let's go back to item number 1. This is public hearing on municipal code amendment. Video inspection required for public and private stormwater and subsurface water drainage facilities. We got Lisa and Mike on staff representatives on this, but Lisa, are you talking about it?
Yes, thank you.
Give us more background from what we have in our materials.
Sure. This is related to our second agenda item, which is amendment to our fee schedule regarding our video inspection fees. This matter was brought forward by Cameron Woodbury, our drainage utility supervisor. He is in charge of the video inspection. When we get new subdivisions and they put in storm drain systems, we have those video inspected to make sure that there aren't any problems with them and that they're properly connected, which is good preventative to make sure they're put in the right way the first time. We do own most of the subdrains or the storm drain systems. We also allow some subsurface water systems, and so we inspect those as well. But Cameron came to the group and said that he wanted to make it clear in our code and our fee schedule that whether these facilities are public or private, they should be inspected at the time that they're installed to make sure that they're properly installed. Typically, these have been public, but we do have some more planned developments that are doing private streets, private systems. But I think from a governmental standpoint, to make sure that that's installed properly as a public improvement is a good point. The way I read our code, we could, because it said any storm drain system or any subsurface drain system, but just with the legislature these days, and we just want to make it very clear. So purpose number 1 is to say that any storm drain or subsurface water drainage improvements, whether public or private, have to be video inspected. And then he also mentioned some problems that we had with various types of inspections. So the way our fee schedule worked originally or currently is we require 2 fees up front, 1 to inspect and then 1 to re-inspect if needed. So we would like to just propose that we get 1 fee to inspect, and then if it has to be re-inspected, they will be charged another fee at that time rather than having to deal with financially giving them the money back. There's also some issues with warranty inspection and phased inspection, and we can talk about that. But as we were going through those fee schedule amendments, I realized we needed to add more provisions in our code I think we had some clear provisions about our subsurface water, because we have a section in our code, but I just want to be consistent with how we were saying, these are the kinds of storm drain improvements that have to go in, and they have to comply with our standards and specifications, and these are the requirements for our subsurface drainage improvements. So just to go through these, we already had a section in our code. This is section 1, the 9.06, regarding standards for subsurface drains. I just wanted to add, you have to get them video inspected in that provision in Title IX. And then also, it was recommended to update the language rather than videotaping. We're just going to call it video inspecting, keep up with the times. Thought that was a good suggestion. And then just, so you'll see in this section 2 in 9.06.080, we're just kind of spelling this out, that you have to get it video inspected, you have to clean it before we come out for inspection, you have to get a re-inspection if it fails, and dealing with phased inspection, which means, so let's take Summerhill Lane. It was a very big project. Typically, we're not going to review public improvements until they're done, because they work holistically. But some very large projects like Summerhill Lane, I think we allowed them to do, you know, a portion of it, and then that would stand on its own, and then we'll come in and do that. So we've added language in here that says, okay, this wasn't in our code, but we've been allowing phased inspections as long as it's our drainage utility supervisor says that you can do that. And then we put it in here clearly, if you're going to do phased inspection, before you get the second phase, you're going to have to pay us. And that's when we trigger the inspection. We're also requiring now a new policy change to say that you have to get another inspection after warranty. This means they put in the storm drain improvements, and they have 1 year that the developer has to warranty the work. So we need to know that it hasn't settled, because that's really, from what Cameron was saying, that first year is when a lot of the settling occurs. And so we would be taking on ownership of that permanently. So it makes sense to just go and make sure that everything is okay. And so we are requiring a warranty inspection. And so that's for subsurface drain. And then we just did the exact same thing, because I felt like we have a lot of the requirements for storm drainage facilities in our standards and specifications, which are 400 to 500 pages of standards and requirements. But I wanted to make it very clear, similar to what we do for subsurface. So it's just the exact same language, referencing our standards and specifications, referencing the video inspection requirements. And then we took these amendments to the Planning Commission, because we're also recommending changes to our subdivision ordinance, which is where a lot of these provisions were. What I'm trying to do here is take these provisions out of the substantive provisions of these facilities out of the subdivision ordinance and put them in Title IX for water facilities, mainly because of appeal, you know, land use code has a whole extra layer of LUDMA. So I kind of wanted to say, and if it's a site plan, subdivision doesn't cover that. So it was a little bit of a gap. So I said, let's take the substantive provisions out of the subdivision code, put them in Title IX, and then just reference back to Title IX. So that's why we took all, it looks like we're taking a lot out of the subdivision code and then just referencing. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, this does require a public hearing because we are making changes to our subdivision ordinance. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and I think we'll probably have more questions for Dave on the actual fee, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
I don't have anything to add.
So I think these are good suggested changes, and we'll make it clear. And again, as I've mentioned with the legislature and the land use codes, you know, we have to tell developers exactly what they have to do, and we have to give them checklists. And so this is really just adding code to support our authority to charge these fees.
So Lisa, we have two things on the agenda. we're voting on here, right?
Yeah, so I'm just
One's
going
an
over
ordinance,
these
one's a
municipal code
resolution.
amendments, and then I will present the fee schedule amendments next.
Okay,
They're two
great.
different public
So,
hearings.
so we're doing the first one, the ordinance 2026-14. What Lisa just went over. If there's not further questions for her or Dave, then I will go to, because this is a public hearing matter, both these are, and I'll go to the public hearing on this, okay? And as you know, if there's questions you think of, you can come back after the public hearing. So this is a public hearing matter, so I will now open the public hearing regarding in reference to ordinance number 2026-14, municipal code amendment related to video inspection required for public and private stormwater and subsurface water drainage facilities. That is now open. If you're inclined to comment, just state your name and where you're from for the record. No one online? Seeing no comments from the public, I will close that public hearing. And since we have nothing, sorry, what?
Sorry, I forgot one thing that occurred at the
Do I
planning.
need to keep it open then?
No,
Okay.
but it reminded me when you said the public hearing, the planning commission also had a public hearing, and the South Davis Sewer District had a comment, and that was in your packet, that they had reviewed our proposed amendments, so I'm glad they're keeping up on municipality agendas, but they saw this on the agenda. And in our subdivision ordinance, we talk about utilities. And so they requested the change to 15.05.060 regarding the sewer. Our current code says that the subdivider shall connect to a public sanitary sewer and provide the mains and extend the laterals to all the lots. But the sewer district just wanted to be more specific and say that the subdivider shall comply with the South Davis Sewer District requirements for connection, and that the developer has to pay for those costs, which, again, we don't regulate for the, we provide this in our code, but we do the same thing for secondary water. We say you have to comply with secondary water requirements. So I felt like that was something we could accommodate, and I think the Planning Commission was recommended going with their proposed language. So that's why you see that in the ordinance that's proposed for the city council consideration does have the South Davis Sewer District suggested change.
Okay, great. That's, fills us in further. Any further questions for Lisa on that one? If not, and not hearing any public comment, then I will look for a motion in reference to ordinance 2026-14.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we adopt the proposed municipal code amendments to the existing and new code provisions set forth in ordinance number 2026-14.
I'll second that.
We have a motion is second. Further discussion? Councilman Meekum on the vote.
Aye.
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 That motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Let's go to the second part of this. Let's go to resolution 2026-07. This also is a public hearing matter. Video inspection fees for stormwater and subsurface water drainage facilities. Are you commenting or is Dave commenting on this one?
I'll start. Okay.
I mean, he came up and his boots were dry, so I didn't think he'd been that big in a hole, Okay.
Okay, so this, are proposed amendments to our fee schedule, and this is really where this project started, and then we went down a bit of a rabbit hole with our code, but, so what we're trying to do here is to clarify and update our fees for these video inspection of new or modified storm drainage facilities or subsurface water facilities. Our previous fee was 75 cents per lineal foot times 2, because that was what it cost, but we were charging, it's not to, inspect it and then, but it's to inspect it and then to come back and inspect it. But if we didn't have to come back and inspect it, we were supposed to give the money back. But again, that takes monitoring and Usually we would use it, so we were not. And it had a $700 minimum. So we've reviewed, we contract with Twin D to provide these services, and they charge us a municipal rate, which what we've heard, Cameron said that's actually probably more than, or cheaper than the private rate, because we get a bulk rate. And so our rate is less than $1.50, it's the 75 or 80 cents a linear foot. But that is just for the camera. And then that camera, so number one, our drainage utility supervisor has to schedule the inspection. So he has to take the call, and then he has to call Twin D, have them go out, then he has to review the video footage. So the extra 75 cents per lineal foot is for the cost of the drainage utility supervisor's time and reviewing that and signing off on it. So we're recommending $1.50 per lineal foot, but only one time. And then we're reducing the minimum from $700 to $200 because we did check our contract with Twin D, and their minimum rate for mobilization is $200 an hour. So if we don't line up a bunch of these and they're going out and doing it, or they're in the area, it would be a minimum of $200. So I think that's reasonable, because the question was, why are we charging $700 as a minimum, but when, we're getting a good rate from Twin D. So we'll need to watch that when we enter into a new contract. If our costs go up from our provider, we need to look at these and, modify as required. But we've added, you'll see the initial inspection fee, and then we have a re-inspection, and this is only if they failed. So we say multiple times, please clean it out, please make sure it's good, but if it fails, then they have to pay the re-inspection fee, but we're not requiring it up front. And then we're addressing the phased video inspection, which is rare, but rather than just leaving it as leaving it up to the drainage utilities, drainage supervisor, we decided to spell it out. And same thing with the warranty inspection. Sometimes we were requiring that, but now we want to consistently require that. And so we're putting those fees, and this is actually what came up, is that in the land use in LUDMA, the land use code in state law, the legislature was talking about not allowing the city council to review or appeals of land use fees. Since you were the legislative body that set the fee, you shouldn't be the appellate body. And that sort of sent shivers down my spine, because we often have fees reviewed by either the mayor or the council. And I asked Cameron Deal, I said, is this just land use fees? Or are you saying our city council can no longer, handle any kind of fee appeal? But anyway, it wasn't clear, but I just want to get any fee that's not a land use fee out of the subdivision ordinances. So again, that's why you'll see these fees are water fees. And then we just reference in our zoning fees that, hey, go look at the water fees. So I'm trying to keep it out of a land use fee.
And just one additional comment, it may go without saying, but on the re-inspection and the phased video inspection, it does only include the areas needing inspected. It's not a full quantity of the whole subdivision. It's just, it may just be a 200-foot section of pipe. They would still pay that minimum $200. But.
Yeah, I thought that was reasonable. So let's say the break was only 50 feet in on the re-inspection or some problem. You don't have to go in and video camera the whole thing.
Okay, I don't see questions, so let's go to the public hearing regarding fee schedule amendments, video inspection fees for stormwater and subsurface water drainage facilities. That public hearing is now open. Anyone from the public that's so inclined to comment, once again, just please state your name and where you're from for the record. Seeing no comments, I will close that public hearing, and we'll come back to if there's any last questions for Lisa or for Dave. from council.
Can I ask a question, Dave? Are you there or is someone there from the city when the inspections take place?
Generally, no, the contractor and our familiarity with them, they're given maps and very specific. They're labeling manholes that fit with our GIS system and everything. They're issued that map and then they go through and then we receive all of the video information on USB for our review.
And how often do they come across problems?
That would be kind of a guess. Some contractors do a little bit better work. Some of the soil conditions sometimes warrants repairs that even the best contractors don't anticipate. Like she said, with settling, especially like in the subsurface, you're talking that real deep. So sometimes it gets a little sketchy, but we don't see a lot of repairs or re-inspections necessarily. And if so, it's usually a very narrow one. Maybe a pipe was damaged during install that got overlooked, and so it's just a very isolated area for that.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll look for a motion then on resolution 26-07.
I'll move that we approve Resolution 2026-07, amending various sections of the Centerville fee schedule regarding required video inspection fees for storm drain and subsurface drain improvements and facilities.
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Let's go to a vote then. Councilmember Bangerter going to his right.
Aye.
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 That motion passes unanimously, or 4-0. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Lisa. All right, let's go to our summary action. This is a bond reduction on Pheasant Brook Phase 6 amended subdivision. It's in the amount of $30,862.75. Kevin's the staff on this, but Kevin's not here, but there's maybe, if you have any questions, there's probably somebody else could help. But is there questions on this one? Okay, so I would look for a motion to approve this bond reduction.
So moved.
Do we need to state an amount or anything on that, Lisa, or is that okay, the so moved?
I think you're fine.
Okay, so thank you, Councilman Banger. A second?
Second.
All right. Councilwoman Hayman, go to my right, vote.
Aye.
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 Thank you, that motion passes 4-0. Okay, let's go to minutes review and approval. We have the minutes from the May 5th work session and the May 5th City Council. They're in front of you. You've had them since Friday. Is there any changes to those minutes? Seeing nobody say anything, then I would ask for a motion to approve those 2 minutes.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Let's go to the monthly financial report. Now, this is not one of our quarter ends. We had the pleasure of Nate presenting our quarter end to us last time at the end of March. Once again, I would mention to you, as you probably saw in reviewing through your packet, that he has highlighted with squares and in blue some of the things that are unique on it. But he's here if there's any questions on any of those highlights or anything else on the financials through the end of April.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, did we approve both sets of those minutes? Or we were on the work session, but we approved the city council too?
Yeah, I brought it both up, but
Okay, I'm
we're
sorry.
approving the work
I'm sorry.
session and
That's
city
good.
council. Nothing for Nate on those financials, and hopefully you've looked them through, and in 2 months, we'll get to go through our final for the year. All right, let's go to our council report. Tonight it's Councilmember Meekum. to report on her committee assignments.
So on the Utopia board, I've been talking to Brand. It won't surprise many of you, I was a little concerned over their budget. They want to have 9 new employees this year, which seems like a lot. We had that meeting, but then we haven't had another one, so I don't have any more information. I talked to
It's
Brand.
dollars, staff, executives?
A little bit of everything. And so,
Big reason for the staffing is the almost constant relocation of the Utopia lines due to development and whether it's a city project or development projects. And so I think Councilmember Meekum had some great questions of why aren't the developers paying for some of this? Why are we footing the bill? So I think Councilmember Meekum's doing a great job just asking the challenging questions, so.
they like me about as well as you do. But, what can I say? The museum board likes me better. I love the museum board. I have a card, I'll pass these down with they just do amazing things. I'm just amazed at what they do. So they've got the tea party next month. And
Well, this is great calendar, awesome.
yeah, it's a cool, in March was Women's History Month, and the Whitaker Museum held an exhibition highlighting the 30 Centerville women. I went to it, it was wonderful. Along with all of the men's stories it already holds, we had over 550 guests visit the exhibition during the run. Guests came from as far as Pennsylvania, Arizona, California, Wyoming, and Montana, and Idaho to visit the exhibit. Visit the Centerville Cemetery. Many paid compliments on its beauty. The museum will continue to collect the exhibit New Histories of Centerville Women during the month of March coming forward. They are also taking over, I'm sure, well, maybe all of you know that the Browns for like 30 years put all of the flags on the veterans at the cemetery, and the museum's kind of heading that now, and they've got like 75 volunteers to go up and put the flags on that. They're going to have the tea party, which I wanted to support, and by the time I got in, I was too late. So they have gotten...
They're full, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they're full. They've got 138 people signed up, which is 20 more than last year, and they've got 12 on a waiting list. And so I just think our museum is blossoming and really doing an excellent job, and people are...
So the Tea Party, I've often pictured that that's women going to that, am I incorrect?
Yes.
Because I thought, what can I do, take my granddaughter or something, so.
Right, I went
better sign
last
up
year
for
and
it.
I took my 2 daughters and my 2 granddaughters, and we bought our white gloves, and it was really amazing. I mean, it's just really fun. They have the little...
It's fun.
Yeah, we did let one man in, and it was Bryce. So it's really a cool experience, and as you can see, people are really taking to it, so that's awesome.
Well, it's not limited to women.
No,
it's not limited to women, but
I would love to
probably
see you
shows
take,
up.
I would love to see you take your granddaughters.
Next year, it sounds like I have to.
there you go.
Yeah,
But get in early or you'll miss your spot.
that's what it sounds like. So, on some of these did you have more before I ask a question?
No, Rick had, I think, a
I
question.
have a question. I just
Yeah.
would like to ask Dina, or Robin, if the Browns for a number of years provided those flags. As you can tell from what I've done today, I'm partial to the flag stuff, okay? Does the city have a budget to perpetuate that for providing those flags for the veterans at the cemetery? Do you know? Whitaker Museum cover that, or?
I don't know. I know that they've taken it over and the Browns gave us their flags.
But I know the Browns personally paid for all those
They
for
did.
30 years.
They did, and I'm sure that the city will continue to do that. It's pretty amazing to go up there and see it, but I was thrilled at the amount of people that had volunteered to go up, and
Great.
says a lot about our community.
Are any of these activities new this year, or they do them every year? You know?
Most of them they do every year. I'm new on the museum board this year, so I haven't been on before, so I can't really tell you for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
I know the Fall Festival I've been to before, the Treason After Dark I've been to before, the Pioneer Christmas has been held before. I think the Heritage Fair celebrating the 250 years of America is probably new this year, just for this, the tea, so I think there's a couple new ones.
That Treason After Dark escape before you kept by the British is fun. I've been stopped by that.
I did have a phone call today about the Garth and that the water's turned off. I'm hoping that we can get some pressure on Dual Creek to get that water turned on for our gardens, that we've had people pay for those plots and they were already a month late being able to plant, and now we don't have any water to them.
I received a letter today from Aaron Red that stated the cause was a leak on Main and that they should have it fixed by Thursday.
There you go. Thank you, Council Member Meekum. Anybody else have anything pressing on their committees? All right, let's go to the mayor report. Meetings I've had since last council meeting. The biggest one was yesterday, and because the chief came tonight, you know that we have a new fire chief, Chief Larson. He will have a lot on his hands because he's acted as the interim chief for 3 months since the death of Chief Stewart. And so he needs to get a couple of deputy fire chiefs hired. Hopefully that we've been support to him as an admin committee and as the fire commissioners in helping out. Obviously he went through a difficult time in working with the firefighters, but there's areas that we'll need to give him support on. All areas, but specifically help on in some areas. Reminder of the Truth in Taxation meeting being set for August 25th. And that, as you know, is not a first or third Tuesday. That's a fourth Tuesday. Reminder of an open house. Do you guys know when that open house is?
Tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow night, exactly. Do we have any sort of, it's 6 to 8, any format they need to know about?
Natalie actually put together a really great PowerPoint as a handout, and we'll share that on the website and social media. I believe Nate is finalizing those details along with Mike. So there'll be a PowerPoint, but we'll have Natalie there that you can answer questions, ask questions about the water. And in fact, Natalie put in there some information of how to, where to go to find ideas to conserve water. So we're going just beyond talking about that. We're talking about also conservation and sharing that with the community. So Natalie did a great job with that.
So this is
Chief will be there, and Mike Carlson will be there for questions related to the police officer request, as well as the water rate increase.
So this is how you're going to get people here from the community, because our staff wants to see people. You're going to have them come to the dinner at the Episcopalian church just down the road at 6. You're going to have them shoot out of that Episcopalian dinner at 6:30, 6:45, and get over here to the open house, okay? Tell them it's a date night, and they can have a dinner and the movie in here. The movie will be the presentation. Okay, so we need to get people here. That's what we do these open houses for. So that's tomorrow. Okay, I am particularly looking forward to, since our next meeting is going to be in June, we're still very aware of our work session we had in February, where you all gave us topics of like you discussed. We have spent a lot of time on the budget. Like I said earlier, I hope that we all learned a lot and that we'll be better, we'll really understand next year going in. I'm looking forward to getting through some other topics like we got to the Trails Committee 2 weeks ago, which I thought was a lot of fun. So Brian and I are going to be pulling up the items that you guys wanted to see on work session. And of course, I was hoping we'd have a general plan passed by now, but we will need to start into our general plan as well too. So we got things to do moving forward. And the last thing I have is, this is a point of personal privilege. A week ago Saturday, I had the opportunity to go to my best friend's mom's funeral. And this is a best friend that from the time basically we were born, we were joined at the hip, kind of like brothers. She was like a second mother. And you know, I could go on for an hour or two, the amazing childhood I had with that friend. But I just wanted to have each one of us take time to think in their lives about some of each one of us have a different life that we've come from. But every one of us probably has some fabulous memories that that shaped our lives, that we can pass on to other people and blessing their lives. As my best friend's brother stood up, this was an LDS church by where I grew up in the Mill Creek area, and he looked around and he says, boy, I have a lot of memories here. You know, and he says, I came from a household where I did not suffer abuse. And I can say I came from that same household. Not all of us can, including some people I know very well in my life. What a blessing that I had there. And then I had all these bonuses on top. And I just left that funeral, and I said to my best friend, he stood up for 20, 25 minutes. No personal script, and gave memories, gave deep meaning about his mother and deep meaning about how she had blessed his life with things of this world and things from up above. And I went to his wife after and I says, wow, you've done a lot better work with him than I ever did. I mean, we were a couple of hoodlums, you know. So to see the maturity in him and so I just want each one of you, because it's such a reflective time for me to think of those happy moments in your life and dwell on those and how you can continue to develop happy moments and you can pass on that happiness and blessing in other people's lives, because it was quite a moving moment for me, all the flashbacks. And if you ever want to hear about my childhood, then I'll share it with you each individually. But so that's my mayor's message to you tonight. Brad.
Can't top that, Mayor. What do I say after that? Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Two things. Last week was Police Appreciation Week. So first I want to thank all of our police officers and appreciate the streets department putting up the banners on the flags, but appreciate the police department. I really do have one of the best police departments I've ever worked with in my entire career. They're amazing. They have an amazing chief. Anyway, I've really enjoyed working with them over these years. And second, not to try and take away, but Public Works Appreciation Week is this week. And again, Public Works is again one of those areas where they just put their head down and they don't like the accolades. They just want to do their job. But it's so critical. Can we imagine? I jokingly say we need a water appreciation day and we just shut off water for a day, just so people can realize how dependent we are on water. But of course we wouldn't do that. I think we do that unintentionally sometimes, but where we have breaks. But again, I appreciate the entire Public Works crew, and it's just, I don't want to say it this way, but sometimes it feels like a thankless job, particularly in that area, and I do appreciate them and all that they do. So just wanted to recognize both those departments and all they do. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks. And then adding to that, because I forgot my message, that leak we had a week ago Sunday, I went over and they were working hard, and I went and tracked down it took out water from some of our residents, and it took out water from one of our LDS buildings. And I went and found the stake president from that LDS building, and he's kind of a jokester, and he says to me, he says, yeah, I talked to him this morning, he says, but I don't think anybody minded that we shortened meetings to an hour for everybody. But they got it up and going 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. So, yep, they were, and as y'all know, I'm grateful to you to coming together just that meeting before. And I take y'all a text and seeing the urgency and getting those repairs done from Chase to Jennings, so thank you. Okay, I don't know that we have any closed session tonight. Anything else anybody needs to bring up? All right, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned, thanks.
Thank you.